Have you ever had that moment where you woke up in the middle of the night and couldn't remember where you left your car keys, or forgot the name of someone you've known for years, or felt that horrible sensation that you're losing pieces of yourself little by little? That feeling that your memory is slipping through your fingers like sand and you can't hold on no matter how hard you try? If you're feeling this, I need you to know something. You're not alone, and there's a very clear scientific explanation for what's happening to you right now. More importantly, there's a way to reverse this while you sleep, using 3 specific foods that most people have at home but never knew how to use the right way. I know it might sound too simple to be true, but in the next few minutes you're going to understand exactly why these foods work, what happens inside your brain while you sleep, and how thousands of people over 60 are recovering memories they thought were lost forever. Before we continue, I need to ask you something very important. If you identified with what I just said, if you feel afraid of losing your memory, your identity, your ability to remember the things that have always been important to you, I want you to subscribe to this channel right now. I'm not asking because I want numbers. I'm asking because I know how scary it is to go through this alone. And this channel was created so you don't have to feel alone in this journey anymore. Every week, I bring you information based on science, on real studies, but explained in a way you can understand and apply in your life today. So click that subscribe button down below. Turn on notifications, because you deserve to have access to this kind of information every week, and I promise I'll be here by your side on this journey. Now, let me tell you something you may have never heard from any doctor. Your memory isn't failing because you're getting old. It might sound strange to hear this, because everyone says forgetting is normal with age, that it's natural to lose your memory after 60, that everyone goes through this. But the truth is that modern science has discovered something completely different. What happens in most cases isn't an age problem. It's a brain nutrition problem during sleep. Let me explain this in a way you'll understand perfectly. Your brain, during the night, goes through a process called memory consolidation. It's like a cleaning and organizing crew working inside your head while you sleep. This crew takes everything you experience during the day, all the conversations, all the faces, all the places, all the information, and organizes all of it into specific drawers of your memory. The problem is that this crew needs fuel to work. It needs specific nutrients, chemical substances that can only come from your food. And when you don't provide these nutrients, the crew simply can't do the job right. It's like hiring a team of cleaners, but not giving them the tools to clean the house. The result is that the memories from the day are left loose, disorganized, and over time they simply disappear, as if they never existed. Now imagine this happening night after night, month after month, year after year. You wake up every day with the feeling that you're losing one more piece of yourself. You look at an old photo and can't remember where it was taken. You run into someone on the street and the person's name just won't come. You go to the kitchen and completely forget what you went there to get. And worst of all is that terrible feeling that you're becoming a burden to the people you love, that soon you might not even recognize your own children anymore, that you're walking toward a future confusion, dependence, and total loss of identity. I know it hurts just thinking about it, but I need you to stay with me now, because what I'm about to show you is going to completely change this story. The 3 foods I'm going to reveal to you today aren't expensive supplements. They're not imported medications. They're nothing you need to buy at specialty stores. They're common foods that you probably eat many times in your life, but never knew how to use the right way to restore your memory. And when I say restore, I'm not talking about a small improvement. I'm talking about people who came back to remembering birthdays, names, appointments, stories they thought were completely lost. People who recover their confidence, their independence, the joy of living without the constant fear of forgetting everything. The first food is something you probably have in your refrigerator right now, but never imagined could be the key to recovering your memory. This food is the egg. But not just any egg, and not just any way. Let me explain exactly what makes the egg so powerful for the brain during sleep. Inside the egg yolk, there's a substance called choline. This choline is the most important nutrient for producing acetylcholine, which is the memory neurotransmitter. Think of acetylcholine as a messenger that carries information from one neuron to another inside your brain. Without enough acetylcholine, Messages don't get through, connections don't happen, and memory simply doesn't form. This is exactly what happens in people with Alzheimer's. Acetylcholine levels plummet, and the brain stops working right. But here's the secret nobody tells you. When you eat eggs before bed, you're providing the raw material your brain needs to manufacture acetylcholine throughout the night. It's like filling up a car's gas tank before a long trip. The brain will use this choline to strengthen the connections between neurons, to consolidate the day's memories, to repair damage caused by stress and inflammation, and to clean out the toxins that accumulate all day long. Now you're probably wondering, how many eggs do I need to eat and what time? The answer is simpler than you think. A study done with people over 65 showed that eating 2 boiled eggs about 2 hours before bed was enough to increase acetylcholine levels by up to 40% during sleep. 40%. Imagine the impact of that on your memory. But there's a very important detail here. The eggs need to be boiled, not fried. When you fry an egg, you destroy part of the choline and add oxidized fats that cause inflammation in the brain. And brain inflammation is precisely one of the main causes of memory loss. So the right way is to boil the eggs, let them cool a bit, and eat them about 2 hours before going to bed. It can be with a little salt, with a light salad, with whatever you prefer, as long as the eggs are boiled. And before I tell you about the second food, I need to know something. Do you also feel this mental confusion? This fear of forgetting things? This horrible feeling that you're losing control of your own mind? If you feel this, I want you to do something now. Go to the comments and write exactly this. I want to recover my memory. You don't need to write anything else, just that. I want you to do this for 2 reasons. First, because when you put it in words, you're making a commitment to yourself that you can take care of your brain health from now on. Second, because when other people read your comment, they'll realize they're not alone, that there are thousands of people going through the same thing, and that brings enormous comfort. So go there now, pause the video if you need to, and write in the comments, I want to recover my memory. Then come back here, because the second food I'm going to show you is even more surprising. The second food that restores your memory while you sleep is the banana. Yes, that common banana you buy at the grocery store every week. But you need to understand what happens in your brain when you eat a banana before bed to understand why this is so powerful. The banana is rich in 2 substances fundamental for memory, tryptophan and magnesium. Tryptophan is an amino acid that your body transforms into serotonin, and serotonin is transformed into melatonin. Melatonin is the deep sleep hormone, that restorative sleep where the brain really consolidates memories. Without enough melatonin, you sleep poorly, wake up tired, and the brain doesn't have time to organize the day's information. It's like trying to tidy up an entire house in 10 minutes. There's simply not enough time. But when you provide tryptophan to the banana, the brain can produce enough melatonin to enter deep sleep for hours on end. And it's during this deep sleep that memories are recorded permanently. Now comes the magnesium part, which is even more fascinating. Magnesium is a mineral that most people over 60 have a severe deficiency of, and almost nobody knows this. Magnesium deficiency causes a series of problems in the brain: anxiety, insomnia, mental confusion, difficulty concentrating, and progressive memory loss. This happens because magnesium is essential for function of NMDA receptors in the brain, which are the receptors responsible for learning and forming new memories. Without enough magnesium, these receptors simply don't work right, and the brain loses the ability to record new information. That's why many people feel they can remember perfectly things that happened 30 years ago, but can't remember what they did yesterday. The brain still has the old memories recorded, but lost the ability to record new memories due to lack of magnesium. When you eat a banana before bed, you're providing bioavailable magnesium, meaning magnesium that the body can absorb and use immediately. During the night, this magnesium goes to the brain and reactivates the NMDA receptors, allowing the brain to start recording new memories again. It's literally like turning back on a system that was shut down for lack of power. And the results are impressive. People who started eating a banana about an hour before bed reported memory improvements in less than 2 weeks. They started remembering names, appointments, conversations, details they thought were completely lost. And most importantly, they recovered their confidence, the feeling that they're still in control of their own mind. But there's a right way to eat the banana to maximize this effect. The ideal is to eat a ripe banana, because ripe bananas have more available tryptophan. You can eat it plain, you can make a smoothie with a little milk, you can mash it and mix it with a little oatmeal. The important thing is to eat it about an hour before bed, and not eat it with very heavy or fatty foods, because that makes it harder to absorb the tryptophan and magnesium. Now let's go to the third food, which is perhaps the most surprising of all. This food has been used for centuries in various cultures to improve memory, but only recently has science been able to prove exactly how and why it works. This food is walnuts, but not just any walnuts, and not just any amount. Let me explain what makes walnuts so special for memory. Walnuts are rich in omega-3 fatty acids, especially a type called alpha-linolenic acid. This omega-3 is transformed by the body into DHA, which is a type of fat that makes up most of the brain. Think of DHA as a brick that builds the walls of neurons. Without enough DHA, neurons become weak, connections between them break, and memory simply disappears. This is exactly what happens in diseases like Alzheimer's. DHA levels in the brain drop drastically, and the brain literally shrinks, loses mass, loses function. But when you eat walnuts before bed, you're providing the raw material the brain needs to rebuild these neurons during the night. And here's the secret. The brain can only do this rebuilding during deep sleep. During the day, the brain is too busy processing information, making decisions, reacting to stimuli. Only during deep sleep does the brain enter repair mode, and that's when it uses a DHA from walnuts to strengthen neural connections, to create new synapses, to restore areas damaged by inflammation and stress. But walnuts have another powerful component that most people don't know about: natural melatonin. That's right, walnuts are one of the few food sources of melatonin, that sleep hormone I mentioned when I talked about bananas. The combination of DHA and melatonin makes walnuts a perfect food for nighttime memory. The DHA provides the structure. The melatonin guarantees the deep sleep necessary to use that structure. It's a perfect combination from nature. Now comes the important part. How many walnuts do you need to eat, and when? The ideal amount, according to scientific studies, is about 7 whole walnuts, or the equivalent of a small handful, eaten about 30 minutes before bed. It might seem like little, but it's exactly the amount needed to provide the DHA and melatonin without overloading the digestive system. And here's a fundamental detail. The walnuts need to be raw, without salt, without roasting, without frying. When you roast or fry walnuts, you oxidize the omega-3 fatty acids, and they stop having an effect on the brain. Even worse, they turn into inflammatory fats that cause exactly the opposite effect of what you want. So always choose raw walnuts. If possible, buy them with shells and shell them when you're ready to eat them to guarantee they're fresh. Now, let me tell you something that will make all of this make even more sense. When you combine these 3 foods, eggs, banana, and walnuts, on the same day, you create a synergistic effect in the brain. The choline from eggs increases the production of acetylcholine, the memory neurotransmitter. The tryptophan and magnesium from the banana guarantee the deep sleep necessary to consolidate memories. And the DHA and melatonin from walnuts provide the structure and perfect environment for neural repair. It's like you're giving the brain everything it needs to heal itself during the night. People who followed the simple protocol, eating 2 boiled eggs 2 hours before bed, 1 ripe banana 1 hour before bed, and 7 raw walnuts 30 minutes before bed, reported impressive changes. Some started remembering dreams for the first time in years, which is a clear sign that they're entering deep REM sleep, the phase where memory consolidation happens most intensely. Others noticed they woke up more rested, with clearer minds, without that mental fog that lasted all day. And many reported that they started remembering things they thought were completely lost. People's names, old addresses, childhood stories, details from recent conversations. But there's something very important I need to tell you here. These 3 foods aren't magic. They won't cure you overnight. The brain needs time to recover, especially if you've been suffering from memory loss for years. What these foods do is give the brain the tools necessary to heal itself, night after night, week after week. It's a gradual process, but it's a real process based on solid science. and it has already helped thousands of people recover their memories and their lives. And here's another crucial piece of information. These foods work best when you also take care of other areas of your brain health. That means sleeping at least 7 hours a night, because it's during those 7 hours that the brain does most of the work of memory consolidation. It means avoiding refined sugar and ultra-processed foods, because they cause inflammation in the brain and destroy neurons. It means staying mentally active, reading, talking, learning new things, because the brain needs stimulation to keep creating new connections. It means exercising regularly, even if it's just a 20-minute walk a day, because exercise increases blood flow to brain and stimulates the production of neural growth factors. And it means controlling stress, because cortisol, the stress hormone, is one of memory's biggest enemies. But I understand that making all these changes at once can seem impossible, especially when you're already suffering from mental confusion and lack of energy. That's why I always tell people to start with the basics. The 3 foods before bed. It's something simple and expensive that you can do today, and that will start giving results in a few days. After you feel the improvement, when you start waking up more rested, with a clearer mind, then you'll have the energy and motivation to add other healthy habits to your routine. Now, there's a question a lot of people ask me, but what if I don't like some of these foods? What if I'm allergic to eggs, or can't stand the taste of walnuts, or can't eat bananas? The answer is that you should adapt according to your reality. If you're allergic to eggs, you can substitute with other sources of choline like chicken liver, salmon, or broccoli. If you don't like walnuts, you can use other nuts like almonds or Brazil nuts, which are also rich in omega-3 and magnesium. If you can't eat bananas, you can use other sources of tryptophan and magnesium like avocado, pumpkin seeds, or spinach. The important thing is to understand the principle behind each food and find alternatives that work for you. But I'm going to be honest with you. Most people who start this protocol give up in the first few weeks, not because it doesn't work, but because they don't see immediate results and think it's not making a difference. This happens because we use the idea of medicines that work in hours, of magic solutions that fix everything overnight. The truth is the brain doesn't work that way. The brain recovers slowly, cell by cell, connection by connection. But when you maintain the protocol for at least 30 days, the results start to appear undeniably. Suddenly you realize you remembered a name you always forgot. Then you notice you were able to follow an entire conversation without losing the thread. Then you catch yourself remembering where you put your keys without having to search through the whole house. There's small victories that accumulate until one day you look back and realize your memory came back, that you came back to being yourself. And there's another fundamental thing I need to tell you. These 3 foods don't just restore the memory you've already lost, but also protect against future loss. When you provide choline, tryptophan, magnesium, omega-3, and melatonin consistently, you're creating an environment in the brain that is hostile to Alzheimer's, to dementia, to cognitive decline. You're literally building a fortress of protection around your neurons. Studies show that people who maintain adequate levels of these nutrients have up to 60% less chance of developing Alzheimer's over their lifetime. 60%. That's not a small thing. That's the difference between aging with a clear mind, lucid, capable of recognizing your grandchildren and telling stories from your life, and aging lost, confused, dependent on others for everything. So if you made it this far, if you've heard everything I said and are really willing to change your life, I want you to do the following. Today, before bed, eat 2 boiled eggs, 1 ripe banana, and 7 raw walnuts. Do this at the times I explained to you, and do this every day for the next 30 days. Don't skip a single day. Don't make excuses. Treat this as if it were the most important medicine of your life, because it really is. And after those 30 days, come back here and tell me what happened. Tell me if you notice a difference in your memory, in your sleep, in your energy. Tell me if you feel more confident, more present, more yourself. And if you want to keep receiving information like this based on science but explained in a simple way, if you want to learn more about how to protect your memory, your brain health, your independence, then stay with me here on the channel. Every week I bring new content about memory, Alzheimer's, longevity. Always focus on practical solutions you can apply today. So subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and let's walk together on this journey of recovering and protecting your memory. You don't have to go through this alone. You don't have to be afraid of the future. You have the power to change your story. And it all starts with a simple choice you can make today, right now, in this moment. Thank you for staying until the end, and I'll see you in the next video.